Well, we figured, how's everybody enjoying the con so far? Day 2 going good? Since we changed the format, it's kind of weird. Like, I see everybody in the morning, and then all of a sudden I don't see anybody until the afternoon. So, we figured that this is a great one right before you go have a big pasta lunch. And if it doesn't make you feel guilty, I don't know what will. This gentleman up on stage here, Thomas Smith, I have known him since December. In December, I said, I need to get into shape. And I met this man. And it's a love-hate relationship. I love this man, but I hate being around him with everything he does to me. I was drawn to Thomas because of the fact of he works a lot with office workers. And as most of you know, it's very easy to eat junk food and type at the same time. And I have a long way to go, but I've gained about 5 pounds, and I've lost about 2 inches on my waist and about 1.5 inches of my biceps. And mentally, physically, both Renee and I have felt a lot better. A few people from Parameter are using them. In fact, Sean has started working with them and lost 50 pounds, I believe, in the first 30 days. So, very, very important. And I said, hey, Thomas, you want to come speak to my con? He goes, yeah, sure. How many people are going to be there? I said, like 900. He goes, you go do some more sets and let me think about it. Thomas Smith has been doing physical training professionally for about 16 years. He got into this when he was younger. He didn't like the way he looked, and he said, I want to change how I look. Got into this. He's from Chicago. We don't hold that against him. He is a Cubs fan. We don't hold that against him either. Former Army. He spends his days working with office workers and bettering them physically, mentally, and emotionally. And I've been able to hear this between reps when I can hear, and this is going to be a great talk. So without further ado, please give a big welcome to Thomas Smith.
Thank you, everybody. And I just want to start off with thanking everybody for just setting the time on your schedule to come to this talk right here. I thank you for that. I also want to say, just thank you to Dave and for this great conference. And what I've learned working with Dave since December is that he really cares about his people. Okay. If you guys got that sense too, that he really cares about his people, when he asked me to come to this conference, I realized that he didn't really care about the people that worked for him, but he cared about everyone that's attending this event. Okay. Because when it comes to health and wellness, I mean, that's really when it comes down to, that's all you got. That's all we got. So I thank Dave for just showing how much he just wants to invest in you and how much he cares for you by asking me to come here. I wish I had got paid for it, but I didn't. But, it paid. Okay. He says that I didn't, all right? So, let's go ahead and get started. I think he pretty much said everything about me, but I'll fill in a little bit. Let me say this about that title. Don't worry about it. All right. This job is making me fat. Relax. Non-judgmental. I'm going to push out a little bit of information. I promise not to point my fingers. If I do, I'll point it at myself. All right. So just sit back, relax, and we'll go through this. So a little bit about who I am. I'm going to tell you this. Being in St. Louis, Chicago's Midwest too, but it's not St. Louis. So I'm always proud of the fact that I'm born and raised in Chicago, and I'm still figuring out St. Louis with the toasted ravioli and pork steaks and what is that other team that y'all brag about all the time? The Cardinals. Oh, yeah. My son asked for a Cardinals shirt last night and almost stopped dead middle of traffic on 364 by K. Like, let's talk about this right now. This does not mean you. So, but that's where I'm from. So for me, working out really started off from a necessity. I was like 8 years old when I first started thinking like, hey, maybe I need to lose weight. I was a fat kid. You know how it is when you're a kid. You probably didn't really think that until someone else walked up to you and told you that, right? That's kind of how it goes in those childhood ages. So that's kind of portion of my background. That's kind of what really gave me that push. Someone else pointing it out to me. Say, hey, you're the fat kid. So 8 years old, that's really when I started saying, hey, how am I going to do this? Looking at some friends, realizing my body wasn't shaped like theirs. And I started from there. Then, when I got to about 17, I started to get a handle on it. Just a little bit. All right. But I went and I said, hey, you should do something, right? You're going to college, but do something more. So I said, let's go to the Air Force. Because I had been told that the Air Force was like really, really nice. They took care of their people. I was told there's a bunch of Daves in the Air Force that really cared for their people. Right? I didn't know at the time, but that's what I was told, right? So I go to Air Force recruiter, and she looked at me at the time, and she was like, nope, can't do it. Can't do it. I was still overweight. At that time, I was probably about 25 pounds overweight. And they were like, nope, you can't even, there's nothing. There's not a waiver. There's not a plan B. There's only one plan. You got to lose weight. So I went, started working out. Still couldn't get to the weight standards, but I bumped into an Army recruiter. Anybody ever bump into an Army recruiter? Yeah, okay. They smile when they see you. When you're 18 and you look at them and your eyes, connect with them, they smile. And the Army recruiter loved me. And he was like, oh, so I had cut weight. So he's like, oh, you're only 15 pounds overweight. Guess what? We have a plan B. We will take you, So I got into the Army. And I just continued working. I thought I had built myself up to this huge point, because I was down weight, I was getting a lot of compliments. But then I realized right then, hey, there's people doing a lot more than me. They're running 2 miles in 12 minutes. They're running 8 miles, 4 milers. They're just blowing me out the water. So, I had to work some more. But it was good. It was a good time. So now, 16 years later, 17 years later, I think I'm at the age now where I'm probably going to keep saying 16 years ago for here on out. So if I'm ever speaking at any other conference you're at, it's probably going to say 16 years ago, even though it's going to be 10 years from now. I'm just giving you a fair warning. Now, Dave says certified personal trainer. I do a lot of work with people that are, working at desks all day long. And that's a big challenge. It's a big challenge that's still relatively new to our society, and I think that's most likely contributing to the weight problems that we're having. And we'll talk about that. I also do some online training. I also do in-person training. We're at this age now where technology is changing everything, and it's also changing how I'm able to train clients. So over the past year, I've had the opportunity to work with people that's been in Los Angeles, Indiana, other parts of Missouri, Florida, different places like that. So it's been a really, really good time. So enough about me. Let's talk about what I'm going to talk about. Okay? I'm going to go through a little bit and talk about some of the facts, trends, give you a little bit of data. Okay? I'm not going to bore you with it. I'm not going to overwhelm you with it because, one, you probably already heard this stuff. And you can Google it, right? But I am going to spend some time talking about the 10 factors that's really affecting you and what you deal with every day of the week. Okay? I'm going to go through that. And while we're doing that, just to mix it up, I'm going to introduce you to some of the people that I've met since I've been training, kind of tell their story and just go from there. So tell me this. What do you want to know? What do you want to know? Everything? Gotcha. You make sure you give me your email address. I'll let you know everything. Now what do you want to know? Body recomposition. So you learn about body composition. How do you change your body composition? Okay. We might have to talk later. I don't get into body composition here much, but we can talk later. Anybody else? What do you want to know? The exercise you can do at your desk? Okay, wow. Okay. Yeah, easy. Okay, easy, simple. Yes. Okay, wow. Okay. Motivation. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. I know I got motivation covered today. Yes. Nutrition. Okay. I got several things I'm gonna go over about nutrition. I'm not gonna delve into the details of it I do and I can, but I didn't do that today, so I'm going to have to make sure I connect with you on that. Who is going next? Who is? Yes. Yeah. Okay. 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 I see that there's a basic formula I follow. Okay. We can talk about that. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Okay. You can get it all the time. Okay. Okay. Yes. What are you doing wrong? Okay.
Soda snacks and most sweets. I give soda sweets and most snacks. I just manage to maintain.
Just manage to maintain. Okay. Okay. So how about yes? Oh, yes. That's my man right there. Yeah, we can definitely talk about keto or ketosis or the ketogenic diet. I love keto. You talking about simple? There's just simple, and I can help explain that. That's a simple way to do it right there. Okay, so how about this? I got some stuff I plan to talk about. You guys got some stuff you want to know. I'm going to get through my stuff, then we're going to spend some time talking. I'm going to try to answer every question you got. If not, let's figure out a way so I can get you that information. Does that sound like a plan? All right, perfect. So this is my passion, okay? This is what I do. I'm my first client. I've always been my first client. I will always be my first client. So that's why I keep ridiculous pictures like that around so I can go to places and pull it up and say, hey, I'm just not talking about it. I'm just not pointing to other people like Dave saying, get down and do it. I do this day in, day out. Hectic lifestyle. No matter what's going on, traveling. This is what I do. Back in about 2013 or 14, I was experimenting with some new diet approaches. That's probably around the first times that I actually took ketosis, ketogenic diet seriously, and I incorporated that into a 12-week program. During that 12 weeks, I started off about 266 pounds, and then at the end, I was about 228. But that was one of the approaches I mixed into that phase for nutrition over those 12 weeks. So again, it's not just something that I talk about. I like to learn about it, but then I like to practice it and actually do it so that I know what people are experiencing when I'm recommending it to them. So that way when they come to me and say, I'm tired, I don't have a lot of energy, I know exactly what's going on. Or they say to me like this, I've tried everything, my metabolism seems to be stuck. I'm not losing any more weight. What should I do, Thomas? Okay, so some of this basic stuff here, we've probably already seen this stuff, but again, right now, currently, or at least when they did this study, it was about more than 78 million adults in the United States that were obese. Okay, and who's not familiar with this data? Anyone who is not familiar with this data? Nobody? Okay. Yeah, it's something we talk about. They publish a lot. So more than 2 and 3 adults, so it's about 70%. Were considered to be overweight or have obesity. Does everybody know what the BMI is, or body mass index tool? What's that? It's evil? Hates tall people. Well, it hates people like me too. It hates people like me too, because according to the body mass index tool, I'm considered obese. Okay, so basically what happens is the body mass index tool factors your weight versus your height. You divide that, and then based upon the number it gives you 25. I think it's like right about 25 is the number. They say, okay, you're overweight, and you go up from there. You're considered obese. However, but it's a good tool. It's a good marker to know. I used to hate on it a lot and say, just know your body fat. Just know your body fat. But when you understand that number, from there they start marking off the different risk factors for disease that people are open up to because of that number. Obviously, like any tool, it's good, but then you have tall people that are outside of its spectrum and it's not as effective for. And you have people like me that's outside of the spectrum and it's not effective for. So, but generally it really does serve a good purpose. Then they go on and say more than one in 3 men, and about 1 in 4 women were considered to be overweight. So a little bit more of us guys, for some reason, are packing on the weight. You guys can see that slide, but I put up some numbers on a career builder survey. So they surveyed about 3,400 people. Right? And they say 45% of workers say they gained weight at their current job. Who's gained weight at their current job? Okay. Wow. Okay. I'm not a mathematician, but I'd say that's probably 75, 80% of the room. Yeah. Okay. Good. So if you break that down, if you look at that chart that actually go through the numbers and they look at the different career fields that are out there, okay? And right now, I'll just get to the point. IT, InfoSec, people that sit around dealing with computers all day, say that 44% of the people they surveyed in that field say, hey, they've gained weight since they've been working, their job. So I had the opportunity to work with emergency dispatchers a lot. Anybody know an emergency dispatcher? Yeah. Okay, good. Okay, good. That's a rough career field to be in. But I'd say probably for them, it probably represent the numbers of the people that raise their hand in here. So it's probably close to 80% of the people that go into that field are just gaining weight. They got what they call the dispatcher butt. Yeah, they have the dispatcher butt. 2 years into it, most people are already up 20 to 30 pounds. Yeah. Because it's, shift work. It combines every facet of like negative aspect to healthy eating, sleep, just how you work. It puts it in one atmosphere and it says, okay, here goes your new career. And 2 years later, most people's bodies are just like, oh, I can't handle this. And they're up, like I said, 20, 30 pounds. First client. This is my first client ever right here. First ever paid client. I was so excited when April was like, hey, I want to do your personal training. So a little bit about her. She started with me in November 2012. And so that's her before pictures. That was actually in the living room of my first house. Because that's where I trained my first client at. I was traveling training at that time, but I was like, I literally went with the model, start where you're at, start with what you got, right? And that's what I did. And, so the other pictures are after pictures, like in the basement, right? Where I had my little mock gym set up. But April lost about 30 pounds during that time. And I kid you not, that lady took so much sleep from me, it was crazy. Because I came in, I knew so much. And I followed most trainers' advice which was keep them moving, keep moving, exercise, and then just, drop their food a little bit, make them eat 5 times a day, and they're going to lose all the weight in the world. I did all the calculations and it was like, okay, she'll lose a pound at the end of the week. Nope, she didn't. She'd gain. Her body would do this, her body would do that. So she tested me continually and I had to keep learning. So I thank April for that. It was a good learning experience, but it proved to be very, very beneficial. So let's start off with the first point. Okay, you want to know the factors that's affecting you at work. This is the first point right here. Wellness is not a priority for most companies. Okay, for most companies, wellness is not a priority. It's not their priority for you when you walk into your job and you fill out your job application. They're like, okay, you're hired. Most companies are prioritizing other things. They're not prioritizing your wellness. Okay, so they found right now that there's probably about several progressive companies out there that, they're offering things like reimbursement to gyms or gym discounts. Maybe they have health centers that they can give you access to. But outside of that, there's not a lot. They said there's only about 25% of large companies that are actually investing in that area. Okay. And then the numbers right now, 5% of small companies offer some type of comprehensive wellness program. And that was back in 2014. Okay. So the number one problem you're facing right now is that most likely your company has not prioritized your wellness. Okay? Next thing is, who's not from around here? So everybody's from St. Louis? Most people? Okay. So the other thing is frequent business trips. Okay? So for everybody that's here, you didn't travel for this event, but how often do you travel for your job? 2 months out of the year? Is that broken up over the year or just?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? So we got 2 months out of the year. Who's traveling the most? That's what I want to know. Who's traveling the most? Who's traveling a week a month? Oh, wow. Okay. A week a month right there. Wow, that's a lot of traveling. So they say 81% of business trips are taken in cars. Okay. And they say that's a big contributing factor to it. But then they say people who travel for work 2 weeks or more each month have higher BMIs. Okay. So that's another risk intake. What do you think's happening? Yeah. Lousy food choices. Maybe not planning for those trips. Yeah. No access to the gym. Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. On the road, probably whatever events you're going to, there's probably a lot of socializing. Yeah. Oh, definitely, yeah. Not keeping the schedule because you're probably not going back to the same place, probably new places. Yeah, there's a lot in that. Suzette. I kind of broke these up, Brooks. I hope this is helpful for you, but I just want to talk about it. Everybody that came to me so far, they have different issues. So Suzette, she's a top-level executive for one of the companies in the area, and she came to me probably about 2.5 years ago. And, I mean, first-class professional executive, just like you picture right out of the movies, right? Just in her speech, her mannerism, and everything. Great lady to train with, but that's where she started off at. I think she was right up around 230-ish where she started out at. And so it took her some time. We took some different approaches because it's personal training. We took some different approaches with her, but that's her after pictures. Okay. Again, she still does her Monday through Friday thing, you know, but that's what she was able to do. So how about this? So next up, you arrive late and stay later. Okay. So basically what's happening is for a lot of people, they're working late, they're eating later, and they're sleeping later. They actually looked at the study on this, and they said the closer your last meal is to bedtime, the more calories you actually end up taking in during that day. Okay? So you take that, which is like, okay, maybe taking in some extra calories, depending on what it is, maybe that doesn't affect you. But when you take in more calories at the end of the day and you're getting less sleep, what happens is, because you're staying up later, your body's actually not processing that stuff. So we talk about your metabolism being stuck. That's what happens right then. So your metabolism isn't getting the time to actually like burn through those calories. How many people know that when you're asleep, you should actually be burning calories? Yeah. When you're sitting down, your body should be burning calories. Yeah. Well, when your metabolism is working right, you actually do. But that's one of the things I help people do, help kind of educate on that stuff. Yeah. So that's one of the research studies they did. So if you're getting to work late, eating late, staying up later, then eating right before bed, saying that's a huge killer for you. Okay? Now, who don't order out lunch? Few people? Good. Kudos to you. Kudos to you. Stop? Yeah. Okay. I was looking through the research on this stuff, and just the numbers alone of, they said in 2018, they estimated that there will be 240,000 fast food restaurants in the nation. 240,000. That's ridiculous. And the way they classified it, I don't think they were counting places like Schnucks or Walmart's where you can go in there and just get other type of fast food, you know, from their little deli bars and stuff. But yeah, 240,000. That's huge. But they looked at it and they looked at the research and they said that if just by you passing by those places, going to work, if you got that access to them, most of the time that's going to contribute. You're going to be twice as likely to be obese. Wow. Think about your commute to work. Those last couple blocks. You thinking about that now? Yeah? Yeah? It's probably packed with restaurants, isn't it? Yeah, exactly. So let's see here. Let's talk about this person coming up. Navi. She was a postnatal client. So she came to me. I think the doctor cleared her like 2 weeks before. Like, hey, you're good. You just had your last kid. Now you can start working out. And she like emailed me and she was like, I'm ready to start tomorrow. And it was like really, really shocking because most people it takes 10 emails and probably about a good week and a half to 2 weeks before they actually schedule something. But that's her before pictures in March. And then in July 2017, that's her there on the left. Very, very soft-spoken woman. When you see me working out with her in the gym, I'm doing like this. And every time she steps, I get closer because she talks so soft. And it's like, but great woman to work with. Let me see. I'm looking around now. I don't see it yet. See an energy drink. There's a Diet Coke right there. The study on this, I wasn't surprised when I saw this, but I know we all want our caffeine source, right? We all want our energy source for different reasons. Me, I drink coffee. I mix in a little bit of energy drinks here and there. I try to keep it at a minimal. But diet sodas, I kid you not, are one of the main culprits for gaining weight. Has everybody heard about what it's really doing to your body? Yeah? Okay, so I got a few head nods. So real quick here, okay, real quick. So most of the 0 calorie sweeteners that they use to advertise the soda with still affects your insulin. Okay, so they're going to advertise it as 0 calorie, and they say, "Oh, check this out! It's great because it's no calories, right?" Well, that's only one aspect of gaining weight. Okay. Then on the back end, so you take in the aspartame or the maltodextrin, then it spikes your insulin. What does insulin do? Insulin says, let's store a bunch of stuff. So now insulin is storing stuff as it's stored in your muscles or it's stored as fat. And you're wondering, like, why am I not, what's going on with my body? Why am I not, it could be a plateau that you're stuck at, or you're just gaining weight. But seriously, diet soda, I recommend to most people water. Drink water as much as you can. Just drink water. Okay? If you're gonna drink, those other things, just try to limit it. But that's probably that's one of the underlying culprits right there. Even some of the crystal lights, you still have to be careful with those too. Yeah. Everybody agrees with that one. Everybody started chuckling when that slot came up. Coworkers, workplace influence. Oh, isn't it bad? Yeah. Even if you come with the plan, there's 5 other people who didn't, and they're like, "Hey, we're going down the road here. You gonna come?" And you're like, "Well," so you think for 3 seconds, am I gonna take my Tupperware container with me to the restaurant? Or am I going to eat before? Am I eat after? Am I just going to miss out and just don't go? And then that way I can, I don't have to face the temptations. Or I tell you this, it's so bad at some of the places I've worked at where they just stop asking me if I wanted to go with them. They stop asking me. They bring in ice cream and stuff. They stop asking me. So I get to the point where I say, "Hey, guess what? You still got to ask me because I still want the right to turn it down. Don't be just walking past me like I'm not here." But workplace influence is a big one. We do kind of conform to the environment that we're around. And whether it's just spoken stuff, whether it's just stuff that we see, we do conform to that. So it's really, really important for us, if you have any level of influence or control over that environment, to start exercising it so that health and wellness and good food can actually get inside that environment. So, Chrissy J. Hope that picture shows up good. I got to work with Chrissy probably for about 6 months. She was actually one of my first, online training clients. And this was back before I ever even heard of the term, but she approached me through a mutual friend at a boot camp, and she says, "Hey, Thomas, I just want you to write workouts for me." And I was like, cause I always think, I don't think no, I think how, right? So my first mind was like, well, how am I going to do this for her? And so I had this really horrible computer program, and I just started giving her workouts, and it worked for her. She liked it. I was like, okay, great. So we got her before pictures up there at the top, and then the last one's right down at the bottom there. So again, it was a really good client to work with. So, what's this next one? How do you skip a slide just by pressing one button? Can I skip a slide? Just click it twice? Oh, we'll get past that. Now let me go back. This is me and Dave. This is back. When was this? Was this January? Yeah, December? Yeah. Yeah, I think he was he was just getting to know, getting the feel of me and getting like a sense of my training. So it seemed like he was like really, really happy with me. Some days he's not walking out like that. It's kind of just like, okay, bye, Thomas. I survived. Bye. See you later. But again, it's been great knowing Dave and great working with him, and just excited about the future. And there was lots more to come. So, okay, back to this. So your work environment, cupcakes, candy, and more. Yeah. Does anybody workplace have like a designated spot for treats? Exactly. Everybody already know if they want to get rid of it from their house, what they bring, they sit it there, and what's going to happen to it though? Is it going to go stale? Is it going to go bad? Oh, yeah. No, it's not. So I'm going to take this other guess. I'm assuming that fruit would probably go bad there a lot faster than the cake. Yeah, exactly. I've been around those places. I've been around them. But whether it's candy bowls at a manager's office or an executive's office, and they're trying to be nice, or whether it's the vending machines or coworkers that bring it in, we know that our workplace environment is now just filled with unhealthy choices. So when you're stressed, when you are in a meeting for too long, running late, or having to get out of there early, if you have to grab something, 9 times out of 10, what you grab is not going to be healthy. Okay? So that's creating a problem. Because of course, most people fear hunger pains just about as bad as they fear public speaking. So they don't want to, they don't want to go without eating, so we'll grab something in those moments, but unfortunately it's bad stuff. So we want to be watchful for that. If there's any way you can plan for that, if you can have a fridge, at your workplace, or bring something in a cooler, snacks like that. There's tons of options out there that also starting to make little protein packs now that are really, really great for you. So, what was that? Fruit and veggies? Definitely. Your commute by car. So, this is kind of an obby, right? If you're walking or taking a bike, or taking some type of public transportation, say they're usually going to have lower BMIs than those who commute by car. Because obviously you're getting a lot more activity in. Okay? What do you think's happening inside the commute to work? When you're in your car, what do you think's happening? Eating, drinking? Yeah. Not moving? Yeah. Stop at a fast food restaurant? Yeah. Stress? It could be a longer commute, could be, depending on where you stay at. That's probably why you chose to drive your car, so now you got a longer commute. I grew up in Chicago, so that might not necessarily be true, because they had a huge public transportation system that could get you like anywhere in there, even connected with some of the suburbs around. So, it just depends on where you're at. Correct. It's not. Maybe one day. But, let's see here. Deirdre. So this is another one of the, she actually is an emergency dispatcher right now. She, works in the field and faces all those challenges, but she worked with me. And, this period right here was actually doing one of the challenges that I did. It's probably one of the first ones. And, back when I was still figuring things out, how to factor in nutrition, how to factor in the workouts, and then get that stuff out to people. But, like most women I work with, you say challenge, they're like, come on, let's go. It's like, wow. So she really, really attacked that challenge. She won. I think she was down like 45 pounds in that challenge there. Again, just a real go-getter. I think some of the biggest challenge she faced was just motivation. She did a lot of shift work, so she was tired a lot, low energy. So it was, I woke up, 30 minutes, 40 minutes before I had to get to work. Didn't have time to meal prep because the other day I was working an extra shift. So on the way in, I grabbed fast food. And then while I was working, I got hungry towards about the 6th hour. So I asked my boyfriend to pick me up something or order something. And, tired from dealing with that. So I had to work with a lot on motivation and just, hey, come on, you can do it. Come on, just go. Here's the plan. Follow the plan. But she was able to do it. So kudos to her. This is a big one right here. Something that we already know. But do you know the time? Do you realize that we sit an average of 67 hours a week? Well, I mean, they break it down here. It's 9 hours a day that we're probably sitting. It's 6 hours a day that we're sleeping. It leaves about 7 hours a day for actively being active, moving around. But you know what? We go from our cars, we go to our desks, still sitting, right? Then we go back to our cars, still sitting. Then we go back home, where we run around and jump like a 3-year-old kid. No. No, we don't. We sit down. You know, in fact, it's interesting. As I'm getting more experience in life, I'm starting to realize, so I still got some younger ones, they do anything to expend energy, right? Hey man, could you pick up that toy over there? There's 3 backflips and 5 twirls to pick up that toy over there. Anybody been around a little kid lately? Notice that? But I tell an adult, can you get that for me over there on the table? First of all, I better say please, right? Second of all, they're going to take the most direct route and use the least energy as possible, right? You know, it's different. It's interesting how we are when we're older versus when we're little, because now we're kind of the mindset where we're not expending that much energy. And we look down at stuff on the phone, we think, do I want to squat, bend over? I mean, we think about it for a second. It's a lot different, but we do need to get more active. We do need to get moving a lot more. And that's why I'm glad in some places, does anybody have the option to have a raised desk? Oh, excellent. Excellent. Where you can just stand and work, write, type. That is awesome. Awesome. I heard somebody else who had a treadmill at their desk. Good. Yeah, that's all awesome stuff to keep that activity there. They also said that just by taking like a 2 or 3 minute walk every top of the hour would do just wonders for you. Just that simple. Just a 2 or 3 minute walk every top of the hour. He works out? What does he do? All sorts of stuff. Yeah? Jumps, jumping jacks, he has weights at his desk. Oh, yeah, that's great. That's great. I don't care. Yeah. He's rolling, so. Exactly. Exactly. The rest of this feel bad, so we started walking. Hey, you just need just one, right? Like, make you feel bad. That's good, though. I mean, negative motivation is still motivation, so good. Yeah. Okay. Is anybody? What's that?
That's one of the things with a lot of workplaces. The IT people a lot of us here wouldn't care if our subordinates were running and jumping and acting like maniacs. But Lord help you if one of the VPs comes down and you're not glued to your desk.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
You're in some type of dungeon.
Exactly. Yeah, they got different expectations, I'd imagine. Definitely. Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask, does anybody sit on a stability ball at their desk? Not on purpose. Not on purpose. You do? Okay. Okay. Nice. Okay. Cool. Okay, they also factored in that if people are working and they don't have a window that's close to them, basically mean they're not getting any sunlight, it's affecting everything else. So employees with windows near them, they say they get 173% more light exposure during the day, right? But that light exposure is helping their circadian rhythm, so they're actually getting a lot more rest at night. So they say they receive an additional 46 minutes of sleep at night, okay? And I had never really thought about this because, again, I'm experienced with places where, they put them in the basement. It really is a dungeon. When they walk out, they're like, oh, the light, what is that? But you do want to get exposed to light. They said just being exposed to artificial light already boosts your chance of gaining weight. So, you know what? If I was to click past this picture real quick, you'd miss a small detail in there. Okay? So, everybody knows Renee, right? But just look at the head positioning. Nobody caught the face. She didn't get the face in this, but I know right now she's looking at me saying, what do I have to do, Thomas? But I was just demonstrating an exercise for her. We work a lot on hip mobility, hip strength, and stuff like that. So this is just one of the ones that we went through. And I kid you not, I light up when I work with Renee. I think the gym lights up. She brings her own energy with her, and it's just a really, really good time. So let's see here. Okay, good. I'm going to be perfect timing for those questions that everybody had. So I'm just about finished. So I'm going to finish off with just saying that you can. Okay. So what can you do? The other Wednesday, I got the opportunity to meet some more people that are involved in InfoSec. I'm new to this stuff, so whatever you call yourself, it's new to this field, IT, so I've met a lot of you, but I know that you love your jobs. Okay, and sometimes we think that we can't love our jobs, but then still be in shape and dedicate that time. But you can. You know, literally, you can have your cake and eat it too. You can maintain your health, dedicate enough time for work, actually progress in your career without having to always sacrifice one. Hey, you can do it both. You can do both of them. I just want to encourage everybody, you need to prioritize yourself. You have to prioritize yourself. You have to think of it this way. If you dedicate all the hours into making the project that good or your department that good, but yet you're declining, at some point, your ability to give and do is going to diminish and it's going to be noticeable. Okay? So you want to always prioritize yourself to keep investing in yourself. Your health is your... You might have heard that before? Your health is your wealth. Your health is your wealth. Okay? I know it's nice. Well, I've heard that it's nice to have $1 million in the bank. But I know that there's plenty of people that's in the hospitals for some type of sickness or illness that will give away that $1 million so they can just be out of there. Okay? So your health is really your wealth. And you can make a lot of choices to affect that. Okay, I didn't get into it, but we know that there's a lot of ailments or diseases out there now that's really come through how we choose to eat, how we choose to live. You know? So don't feel bad about that. In fact, feel empowered by that, because guess what? If it comes down to you making a choice about your health and your wellness, I know what I would do. I'd choose my health. I choose my wellness. Okay? Make time for you to be healthy and happy. You know, I'm talking about physically, mentally, spiritually, however you want to define that. But make time for that for yourself. Okay? You know, I know how it is to have that career, to have different priorities, kids, life, all that. But if you have to make time for that stuff. Otherwise, at some point, you're going to be affected by it. Okay? You may not have all the time. Right? We say we don't have any time. We don't have any time. We got to do this. I got to do this. I do this. I don't have any time. But guess what? You have all the time there is. Okay? So we don't have, you know, we don't have a lot of time, but we have all the time there is. Okay? Hopefully I've done enough that you actually do want to connect with me. But I put that information up there. If you're on Instagram, just find me at SmithFit. If you're on Facebook, I run a Facebook group that's called Live Strong, Die Empty. And right there on the website. I'm crossing over. If you've seen SmithFit branded on everything right here on my shirt. I'm transitioning over website. One that's functional right now is EdgeFit Training. You can find me there. Or again, you can go to one of the other places. So let's see here. I want to thank you, but before I close out, say we got about 9.5 minutes. What questions do we got that I can answer for you right now? Yes.
You ever heard about
leptins?
lectins?
Lectin. LEC.
I've
Okay.
taken it for about a month, and I feel amazing. But they're in tomatoes, wheat.
Yeah.
Lectins is what basically tells your mind to eat or go after certain junk foods.
Okay. Okay.
I've given them up, and I feel amazing.
Oh, wow. Okay. So that's kind of like a dietary nutritional approach that you've taken?
Yeah.
Okay.
I used to eat a ton of tomatoes.
Yeah.
And their lectins are in tomatoes.
Exactly, yeah.
Peanuts. And say stick with like greens.
Greens, yeah.
But I was just feeling like the day I was exhausted.
This is Austin? Okay.
I just ran across it.
Okay. Well, I haven't seen that study particularly. There's a lot of different approaches out there, but if they're telling you to stay towards green vegetables, then that's something I do promote. You know, all the leafy green vegetables, cucumbers, all those things. So I would agree from that aspect. I would definitely say that's probably a good thing, especially if it's helping you out. You figured out the number one problem that you need to right now is what you need to do for yourself, right? So that's good. Yes.
Do you have anything on your website, or do you do any, basically help me sell upper management on, 3 or 4 times a day, get my guys up from their desk, getting them to move, and the promotion, because more active people go to the doctor. Right?
Exactly.
So,
Yeah. I don't, but this is what I do have. To formulate this class and another class that I did at another conference, I have a ton of research on it. I can help you get to that, or I can give you some pointers, and we can talk about kind of, what you think you really need to kind of convince them. Yeah, I don't mind that at all. It really won't be hard at all. So, yes.
So, growing up, we've always been taught that fat is bad. Carbs are good.
Yeah.
You don't have to limit your carbs, but don't take any fat.
Exactly.
Carbohydrates
At the bottom. Exactly. Like they're 60%, I think, at one point they were pushing. Yeah. Yeah, I can. So if you didn't hear him, if you go back, he said back when kids, so take it back to like the 80s, during that time frame. I just pick on the 80s. There's a big push. Fat is bad. Carbs is good. A lot of low-fat diets came out. Around 1990, 1991, they actually introduced some of the first fat-free foods, right? So there was this big thing that's told everybody, hey, you're getting fat, so the fat that's on your body and the fat that you eat is connected. There's a connection there. So if you don't want to have fat on your body, they said don't eat fat, right? Well, there's a problem with that. One is it doesn't support, there's not really a lot of science that supports that. Okay? Fat in your mouth does not mean it's going to be on your hips. Okay? Is anybody familiar with the paleo diet? Okay, there's also out there talking about caveman diet, ketogenic diet, or ketosis. When we start looking at things from a natural aspect, everything that's pretty much natural, that's coming from animals, dairy, stuff like that has fat in it. What it doesn't have in it is the sugars. Okay, when you look at a lot of the green leafy vegetables, that's all low sugar stuff. Okay, now when we start talking about carbs, we got a problem because carbs is so big, right? So from a carb could range from a bag of chips and a soda, which is going to be predominantly carbs, to spinach. But we see the difference, right? There's worlds of difference between what spinach does for you and what bag of chips is. So when it comes to carbs, really what you need to understand is the processed carbs, you need to get out of there. That's the simplest way to do it. Start cutting processed carbs. If you have to walk down through the middle of the grocery store and pick it up off a shelf, it's been in a box, start getting that stuff out of your life. You start there, you'll do good. Bags of chips, all that stuff, start getting that stuff out of your life. And what you're going to find is you're going to get more so to a diet where it's less of those processed carbs. You can take in more healthy fat, more protein, and your body's metabolism will actually process that stuff a lot better. Did anybody know that France actually they eat a lot more fat than they do as a nation? They eat a lot more fat than we do, than Americans do as a nation, but their fat and obesity rates are nowhere near ours. Okay? So if you want some more information, if you haven't heard about like ketosis, ketogenic diet, look into that stuff. There's a lot of science that's based off of it. The ketogenic diet's been around since the early 1900s, and they actually treated kids that had epilepsy with that diet. Okay, so there's a lot of medical research that's been put into that. Yes, sir. Oh wow. Me. So what you want to do is there's a lot of stuff out there. I've accumulated a lot of it. It depends on what you want to know, but I know in my Facebook group I've talked about it a lot. So I have some information there, so feel free to, connect with me there. But you can Google it. Unfortunately, I don't have like one place. I say, hey, go to this person here. Unfortunately, I don't, but I am dead serious when I say connect with me. I do the ketogenic diet a lot. I had somebody ask about simple. I just tie right into that and I'll come back to you. There's nothing simpler than when I go to a restaurant because I'm out with coworkers and I say, let me have salad, let me have some lean chicken or lean type of meat source with it, and then ranch salad dressing. When I look at that, this is what my mind just processed. I have lean green carbs, right? I don't have any of the processed carbs. I have some lean meat, and then that ranch salad dressing, I have some fat. Now, we can debate about healthy fat and all that. We'll get into that. There's a good portion for that. But that's, when I'm in the crunch, that's simple. Okay? There are some things you have to navigate and understand because your body system has to get used to that because right now we're what's called sugar burners. We're so used to filling ourselves with carbs, with sugar burning all the time. So when you first switch over to a ketogenic diet, your body's like, oh my God, where's the carbs? What's going on? It's freaking out. But, kid you not, you go through that process, you're going to find yourself with more energy, and you're going to find yourself losing weight. And then you're going to see on the end, it really is simple. Yes, sir.
Should be concerned with Uncle Rhabdo?
Excuse me?
Uncle Rhabdo?
Rhabdo. Should you be concerned with rhabdo? So for people that's not familiar with rhabdo is, let me see, it's a big old term. It's a shortened phrase, but it's rhabdomyolysis or rhabdo. Yeah, it's a big old term. Rhabdo basically happens to people who are doing too much, most likely too soon, and they cause an injury to themselves. Okay? Your body is a beautiful, beautiful system. All right? But you can get rhabdo. And basically what happens is if you're doing one of those, unfortunately happens in the CrossFit arena a lot more. 2,000 rep workouts, whatever. Let's do this pod. Let me go for PR, whatever the latest term is. I'm not hating on them, maybe a little bit. But, but if you're doing that, what happens is you can go to rhabdo. So rhabdo is when basically your muscle explodes. And when it explodes, it releases toxins into your blood, right? Those toxins will kill your, let me say it right, kidney or liver. It's going to mess up one of those organs. I just reached my limit of my expertise. I'm not a doctor, right? You guys know that. Okay. So, but I am familiar with rhabdo. I would say this. Most people, if you just start off with a basic program, somebody asks about weights and cardios, try 2 and 2. 2 days, go in there and do a full body workout. The other 2 days, start off with 35 minutes of cardio. Start with 5-minute warm up, 35 minutes of cardio, and then start building from there. Let your body sweat out some of the toxins, get kind of used to it, and then go from there. You want a good point to change? Try about 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks of doing that. Okay. Yes. Yeah, so when it comes to intermittent fasting, basically you're planning times where you're not going to eat. Okay? When it comes to nutrition, there's different schools out there. One of the schools out there is you need to be eating every 2 to 3 hours or every 3 to 4 hours. And if you don't, guess what? Your body's going to go into scarcity mode and it's going to store fat. I understand that school, and that's one of the approaches I use. But with intermittent fasting, it actually works a little bit different for you. So anytime you go to sleep at night, what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish this question. I know it's over. I don't think anybody else is coming in. But if you got any more, I'll stay and talk. It's up to you right now, okay? So with intermittent fasting is every time you go to sleep, your body goes into a fast. Okay? That's why breakfast is called break fast, right? So when you wake up, a lot of intermittent fasting plans say, let's extend that window of fasting. Okay? So it extends that window of fasting so that you can actually boost your fat metabolism. Okay? Because we can keep going further. Because when you sleep or when you're sitting down, the number one energy source you should be using at that time is fat. But we have problems with our metabolism. That's not necessarily the case. So some of the other intermittent fasting protocols, they might stop you. They might say, okay, you can eat from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. 12 to 7, and then you end up you go to bed. Then you wake up the next day and you have that extra hours built on, then you eat at 12. And then you can just layer it from there, But does that answer your basic question? You got anything particular? I do. I don't get into a lot of intermittent fasting. I don't get into a lot of planned intermittent fasting. I'll say that. But I will say that you need a couple of different tools in your toolbox, and to understand intermittent fasting is really, really good, because you can use that to your advantage, especially if you wake up in the morning and you say, you know what I'm going to do? I know that my body's in a state where it's going to burn a lot more fat now. Let me go and do 35 minutes of cardio. And now you know naturally, without taking a supplement, I'm boosting my fat burning process, right? Without even taking a supplement. So understanding intermittent fasting is really, really good, and you can use that to your benefit, whether you commit to the whole plan or not. Whatever they want. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I just seen a lady post in a workout group on Facebook. Can I drink water when I'm fasting? Yeah, you probably should. Exactly. Yes, sir. Okay. Yeah, so one of the problems, and I'll start with this, and this is not personal because I don't know how much fat you took in. One of the problems with keto is that it's so like the bacon and butter diet, right? Everybody just get the mindset, hey, I just walk around with sticks of butter in my lunch bag and bacon, and I'm going to lose all this weight. Right? Well, that's not really the plan for keto. So even though you're going to do keto, you still need to know how much fat you take in. You still need to know how much carbs. And you want to monitor that stuff. Dr. Atkins, when he did his research on it, he figured out that the average person doing some type of keto or something would do about 2,100 calories a day. And then after that, they were supposed to rotate it back in rotate carbs back in for certain reasons. But I would say that were you for sure it was the fat, I would start off with one troubleshooting that. Because you want to know particularly what the problem was. Was it too much, the source of fat, or? Okay, good. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah. 10 minutes after. Yeah. Okay. Well. Yeah. So I would recommend, and that's something like that gentleman was getting to, is you got to rotate in some of the healthy fats. So, I would do and what I recommend to people all the time is using MCT oil and protein shakes, things of that nature. And then instead of always going to the fats that you had to chew, think about the fats you're drinking, and mix that stuff in there. We get away from whole milk. Whole milk they add sugar to, so you got to be careful with it. But we want to think about those things because when you're just overloading your system like that, your body can, have problems processing it. I will say that, that your flora, your little biome system inside of your stomach does have to go through a process of changing over with the keto diet. And it will if you stick to it for a long time, which will help you tremendously. They've done a lot of research on that lately. So I don't know if I was able to help you specifically, but maybe that can kind of get you going in the right direction. And just feel free if you got specifics, just let me know. Yes.
So back to the keto. I've been training for a while.
Yeah.
Fairly successful. The problem I have is you were saying, ingesting how much fat. They talk about keto bomb in the morning. Keto coffee.
Yeah.
Which is basically like jamming a stick of butter in a cup of coffee.
Exactly.
I have a hard time wrapping my head around ingesting that much fat because we were all raised fat.
That's bad, yeah.
But do you have to ingest that much fat to get it going? I know that there's a problem with not ingesting enough fat and protein.
Because proteins will convert to glucose or convert to sugar 2 to 1, whereas carbs is 1 for 1. No, you don't. But that's where, like me as a trainer, I figure somebody come and they're paying me the money. They want me to do meal plans for them. I got to give them some numbers. I'm not going to say, just go eat this stuff. So I always start off with like, I'm going to figure out, and I'm telling you it's not to sell you, but you got to figure out how much you need for yourself. Use it as a guide. So you're going to want to know each meal, how many carbs, how much fat I should be taking in. For myself, I know that I should be doing at the high about 28 grams of fat per each meal. Okay. But that's after doing it for several years, you know, making sure I'm getting my workouts in, staying hydrated, things of that nature. I would say that I'm about, sometimes when I'm starting off, I'm heavier. Right now I'm about 232, but I'm starting off at maybe 260 pounds. You know, sometimes 250, stuff like that. So if you're not on that end of the spectrum and not working out, I'd say you need less fat. So a ratio that you might want to try to follow is a